o'clock. My chimes are going off. Everybody thinks, is somebody at the door? So I don't know if you can hear that, but 7 o'clock Wednesday nights, I have my guest on Entrepreneurs on the Rise from Transforming Your Tomorrows. As you know, if you don't know, I'm a life and business coach, and I like to host other entrepreneurs here Wednesday nights so that you can get to know them, their services, and kind of learn about any tips or tricks that they have as an entrepreneur. So tonight, I'm really excited to introduce you to a dear friend of mine, Leslie Welch. And Leslie is a certified CDC, certified divorce coach. She's a certified law of attraction life coach, speaker, and intuitive Reiki master teacher. And just a little bit to give you an insight of where Leslie's at now. A week after Leslie's 30th wedding anniversary, her marriage was suddenly over. Left with no choice but a divorce, she was forced to move forward with her life. Leaving a business and a career in the past, Leslie was determined to look at her life as a chance for a new beginning. Isn't that true for all of us, right? Today, Leslie champions women through the transition of divorce and assists them in being the deliberate creator of their dreams. Leslie believes she is living proof that you can rewrite your story and that dreams really do come true. And so with that, let me introduce you, everybody, to Leslie Welch. Welcome, Leslie.
Thank you, Joellen. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight.
Thank you. It's, I thought it was really cool to talk about this topic or about relationships in general right now, because, we've heard on the news that there's been tougher times. I mean, really where the anxiety or mental illness or maybe physical or verbal abuse is going on in relationships. And so I thought, let's tackle this head on in terms of acknowledge that this is a tough time right now, right? We're dealing with a COVID virus that keeps us indoors, prevents us from the physical contact from our friends, and maybe even our partner is staying somewhere else for the time being, who knows. But when you're together and you can't get away, because it's always healthy to get away, right? You had work before to get away. You had, places to go and your friends to see, but now you're trapped. And maybe not everybody looks at it that way. There's moments I feel like that because it's like, I just want to get out. But then, other times I can just love this time. But not everybody feels that way, where you can really appreciate this time. And so having, you here, Leslie, as someone who specializes with people who are really enduring or going through tough relationships right now, or a shift in their relationships where it's not so friendly or not so cozy and warm. And oh, hi, Erin. How are you? I see a couple of people here. And it's just, did I lose you? Okay, there we go. It's just making sure that learning about what you do and also being an entrepreneur first, we were going to talk about that. But on this topic, I think it was really appropriate for this particular time to make sure that if you're having a tough time, maybe things that you can do to shift through that, or however you help people. So Leslie, tell us a little bit more about your startup as an entrepreneur and how you got there and then into your skills.
Okay, well, for many years, I was married and we had a financial planning business, money management business in Sarasota, Florida, which is still there. But after divorcing, I had decided that I no longer wanted to be associated with a business, and that it would be best if I left. So I decided to go out, and I decided that I wanted to do something different with my life. I went through a gray divorce, which is challenging. I was with somebody for 32 years. So when I came out of that, I just didn't see myself doing that any longer. It was kind of like that was always his field.
Mm.
I was a registered paraplanner in there, and I did insurance. I took care of the clients, and did a lot of the office management
Mm-hmm.
things. But I had never really stepped out, on my own
Mm-hmm.
and said, took the time to decide what I wanted to do. So this was a golden opportunity. I looked at my divorce as a
Mm.
chance to start my life over. I remember thinking, oh, you're 55. After everything set in, after the shock of the divorce, of course, and after going through the heartbreak and everything and getting myself pretty much back into alignment, I was like, wow, who
Mm.
gets a second chance at 55 years old and gets to do what she wants to do?
Right. Right.
So I was like, really excited about it. And so I started my journey into coaching.
Mm.
Because going through divorce at that time in my life was very difficult. And it was twofold. It was so that I could help other women and other people go through this situation and get through that pain and heartbreak that I, was stuck in, because basically I healed myself with different certifications, coaching, law of attraction, of course, Reiki, energy healing, and then I later went on to get the designation from the American Bar Association for divorce coaching. So I am recognized through that. And I'm also now, I didn't have that down, I guess, I'm also a certified career coach. So that plays into it too. So what I have done is, with every step in every certification I completed, I was like, well, this isn't enough, because getting people coming to me, I see people coming pre-divorce. Should I or should I not get divorced? So I will work with people on that, to make certain that that's the right decision for them. We'll explore all the pathways and see how is that going to look for you, and amazingly, I would say after a few weeks of coaching, especially for the older ones that are thinking they want out of a long-term marriage, lots of times they'll agree to try to work on it longer, because I really take them and open their eyes up, so there's no surprises, so they know exactly what they're walking into. I lost you. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I put on myself on mute while you were talking. I sent to some texts to some friends to make sure they could come on and everything. But I think what's really interesting is that, you help people either stay together, or if it's right for them to leave. I mean, ultimately they make that decision, but you kind of guide them through that. And it sounds like that you already had, like I call the entrepreneur gene to begin with, working with your
Right.
ex in that business for financial planning, and knowing, hi, Erin, and knowing that, it's really a time to shift, and now making money all by yourself. So, besides the content, the skill of that your expertise is in, you're the, the SME, the expert, in that information. Um, were you afraid about making money on your own now as a solo and as a divorcee? And
Mhm.
I think that there is a thing in ageism in our society these days. We do it when we're a little bit older, right? So there's a lot of us out there who are a little bit older. And to do it by yourself when you then at one time had a partner, that's kind of
Right.
scary. So how did you, you know, move past that, those issues?
Yeah, that was a big thing, because we had always, made all the decisions together in the business. I did most of the marketing, so
Mm.
that came in really handy for me,
Oh,
because I had that background with marketing seminars, and
mhm.
conferences and things like that. So I had always been really creative that way. But,
Mhm.
he was the one that really had the business mind behind. He was the number cruncher guy. He was a
Mhm.
certified financial planner. I
Wow.
mean, he's a
Yeah.
CHFP, he's a CLP. I mean, he's got so many designations. But um, so for me, it was scary,
Mm-hmm.
but it was even more scary for me to stay in a marriage that
Right.
had ended.
Right.
So it was hard to, I said, I remember telling some friends of mine, I need to jump off that building and I'm afraid to.
Right.
And then finally one day I just did it.
Mm.
But I knew walking away and everything, because I've always been pretty strong and independent, my
Mm-hmm.
own person. So I wasn't afraid that I could not do it,
Mm. Yeah.
because I knew if I set my mind to it, I could. I think what comes along when we're going through that process, then, we're in that process. That's when, the stuff starts coming up. Oh, can I do this on my own? Am I enough? And especially when you've had a partner, that you kind of, I felt like being in that marriage, it was more his passion, the financial was, and being in finance. So I was kind of always in the shadow of him. So this was really a chance for me to get out on my own and just open up new doors. But it also made me step out. It made me step out of the box, that I had been in that container, safe and secure, with the ex-husband who, was the mastermind in the financial business. So stepping out on my own was a little bit scary, a little bit challenging, but I think, if we're passionate about what we're doing, that's the whole key. And for me, there was never any doubt when I made the decision that I was going to help other people mainly heal. I call it, I'm not just a certified divorce coach, because I also help people with the healing process, because I think that is so important, that you have that healing, right from the very beginning. We've got to start making lifestyle changes. We've got to start becoming more independent. And the only way you're going to move through that is if you can start walking through that pain, and being coached through it at the same time. But for me, it's been scary at times, and I will not say that I have not been frustrated. And Joellen knows that, because her and I have been friends for a while, and we worked into some of the same mastermind classes. So there was times, I doubted myself, but then it's like, you reach a certain age, and it's like, okay, what am I afraid of? What else is there to be afraid of? I mean, now especially, we are surviving COVID-19. So what is there to fear?
I love
Yeah,
that. I love that on so many different levels. First of all, what else is there to be afraid of? And the fact that you just did it anyway, even over fear and frustration, and knowing that, you're right, we've got this pandemic going on throughout the world, and it's like, so what? I mean, not so what for that, but I mean, so what for us? It's like, okay, you can get past fear. We've got a big pandemic, so what else is there, right? But not only that, you mentioned how you help others heal through whether it's divorce or even just really tough relationships, right? The fact that
right.
you're an intuitive Reiki master is huge. That energy healing goes a long way for people when they're in that deep pain and trying to cope with the separation of someone that, may feel like a right hand, left hand. And even if it's not, you know, a divorce or just any kind of separation. I know in the pandemic, I wasn't married to him, but I certainly lost a dear friend of mine to COVID-19. And so it's, you have that sense of loss, I think, is what I want to focus on, and knowing that if someone is going through that, if someone is going through a relationship that is encountering other like blockages that are coming up against them, that they're either, so I call them I have a meetup with the, over the Celestine Prophecy Insights. And one of them is really identifying. In fact, tonight we're going over our ancestral patterns. And so in our ancestral patterns, we have the interrogator, we have the poor me, and we have the aloof person, and we have the person who is the who's really aggressive, right?
Right.
And so those four personalities. And so I think in your coaching with people, if they've got a husband who, or a wife, either one, I'm not definitely not going to put this on the men. It's if you've had betrayal, or if you've just had disappointment. It doesn't have to be something really huge, but if it lands like it's huge, then it means something, right, for us. So how do you give us an example of how you might help a person through a sense of owning their power again, right? So like if I was working with an aloof person where, they just, they make you really probe, like, tell me more, right? And it's like, well, just seems like you're really not interested in this and you want to walk away. And then that aloof person says, really wants to connect, but doesn't know how, right? It's an ancestral pattern. So
Right.
So when you coach with people, how do you help them return to their core energy? And I know you said one of them by, as an intuitive master Reiki healer, that's certainly one way. But in your coaching them to really get grounded and to lean in to their power.
Right. Well, first of all, when I bring on a client, regardless of where they are in a divorce process, whether they're in the very beginning, if they're in the
You
middle,
froze. Oh, there you go.
okay, or in the end of it, I take a complete inventory with them of their life, of where
Okay.
they've been, okay? Because relationships, divorce, separation, any of those, it impacts so many different areas in your life. So we start out, just taking a full assessment about where they are everywhere. Where are they with their family and friends? Where are they with their health, for their emotional, for their physical? Where are they from their finances? Because you can't, divorce is the one big thing that just blows up everything. It changes everything in your life, to some degree. I mean, you may be moving, you may have to get a new home. And two, when we're talking like the gray divorce situation, it's the resources, the IRA accounts and everything, how much retirement fund is there. And now you're talking about splitting it up. And you may have had a higher standard of living, right? And gotten used to that. But then when you're splitting things in the middle, in some cases it's not in the middle. Sometimes it's 40-60, whatever. But when you're doing that, it's going to change your life tremendously for you and that ex-spouse. So that was a driving point for me, is, wow, I want to keep making my own money. I want to be financially free, even though we owned the business, and I get permanent alimony because we own that business, and I did not ask him to sell it because I have children involved. There were clients involved, and I basically took the higher road before I even knew what higher road was, before I became a divorce coach, right? And so, a big thing of what I do now is I keep those people, those emotions intact. That's what a divorce coach really does. It allows you to have that thinking partner that's not going to let you make those wrong decisions. For instance, example, like, throwing the towel in too soon, right? Because you just had it, you've been with a narcissist spouse, they put you through hell, you've been in divorce with them maybe for a year and a half, try to negotiate this. You just want it over, but what you really have to look at is the big picture. You need to look down the road. Okay, how is this going to affect me and impact my future 10 years from now? The other thing for me that was a big thing, there's nothing sure, nothing certain anymore in this world. So to depend on an ex for the rest of your life, that could be a little frightening. So, it's been quite a trip, but I would say, it's very rewarding to work with people and to be able to help them, because divorce is just, it's so difficult. And a lot of people make the mistake. Another big mistake they make is taking everything to an attorney, thinking that attorney is going to take care of everything for them. You're putting the decision in somebody else's hands. The marriage was yours. The divorce is your divorce. How do you want it to go? That attorney works for you.
That is so powerful, because I know a friend of mine who'd gone through a difficult divorce. Certainly, she still had, young, not too young, but younger kids, and her attorney actually hit on her at the end, and she. I think people, whether you're a man, or a woman, I think it has to be really keen that you walk in, and I love how you said it, that you need somebody by your side who is helping you think, because you're already emotionally unstable, right? But to can kind of guide you and give you those heads up things, what to think about all the way through, whether you stay or whether you go, and how do you go, and to make sure that you're really planning, that you're owning this is your own divorce. Because I think this person, personally, I think she had a tough time, because she was the one who wanted the divorce. I guess he did too, but there were issues, and it's like, no, but to have to go through a troubled, first of all, a troubled divorce, but then you have trouble with your own attorney, and trying to make sure that everything's done right for the kids and women. We as women, tend to, okay, it's all right, I'll do that. It's all right. We tend to give in or give up, because we think for the, it's better for them. It's better for this. And having someone with your certifications, being credentialed through divorce attorneys, through the Bar Association, I think it's really powerful. There's not enough of you. And in my opinion, I would recommend that to anyone going through, maybe you live together for years, maybe you're not even married, but still, you're still breaking up those things, and how to measure, okay, how do we break up? What's my legal right to have half, or like you said, sometimes it's 40, sometimes it's 60, and I don't know if it's different in different states. I would suppose it might be.
Right. Florida used to be the 50-50 state. When I got my divorce a few years ago, it was a 50-50. Georgia, where I'm at now, it's like a 60-40. What we're seeing now.
Now, who gets the 60 though? I'm curious.
That just usually ends up being the main breadwinner. A lot of the time does. It just depends on the circumstances. But what you run into now is the people that haven't been married for a lot of years, right? Mm-hmm. You may have been with someone for 6-8 years, okay?
Right.
So the thing is that the judges anymore are looking at, the ages and things, and they're not awarding the permanent alimony, as often, unless it's a situation where it is, a person that's going through the great divorce, and maybe they've got health issues, other things going on, but they're more now, that person needs to go back to work and get a job. And that's why I took the career coaching certification too, because I was running into, with women especially, they hadn't been the main breadwinners, and lots of times they've been out of the job market. So they needed to relaunch, you know.
Oh my gosh, that is so powerful. So here we are. You're a certified life coach and a divorce coach and an intuitive healer. So you're now hitting and a career coach. So now you're hitting the key areas, the healing portion of a soul. And I do you work with mostly women, or do you have men in your
I
in
work
your
mostly with women now. I will take on a few men, you know, if we're a match.
Okay,
You know,
okay, now I understand that.
yeah, I've
But
had men come to me. I've had some men clients, you know, because they wanted to work with me, and you know,
oh,
it has
nice.
worked out okay. And you know what? It is not. Yeah, it is not always the woman
Right.
that, you know, is the one that's hurt the worst in
Right.
the relationship. I can tell you, men take it very hard, regardless of what they're going to tell you or not. Men
Right.
take it's very sometimes it's I feel it's easier for women to move on than it is for men.
I think that's interesting because, I would tend to agree with you, knowing men are very sensitive and, they keep it within themselves, which is often a problem in a marriage, right?
Right.
But I think that the fact that you're a healer and that you are a career coach that can help, whether it's someone who hasn't worked in a while, and it's generally maybe people our age, they've raised the kids, they've been the stay-at-home mom, and now, like, all of a sudden, what do I do? And in fact, that was a pretty good description of this other person I knew, who went through this tough divorce, but and then helping them get back into the market, right, without a resume, and then on
Right.
top of that, being able that you can be the side thinker for them to help them through that whole process of a divorce. So I think that's pretty key. And so I think, if you had a big takeaway to share with women and men right now in terms of how do they measure the health of their relationships? Um, in terms of where they're at, are they at a precipice of, okay, I'm done, I'm leaving, or am I at a precipice to really just reevaluate? You know, what
Well, there, you know what? I kind of evaluated where the relationship is. I mean, how much criticism is going on? How much contempt does that person have for you or you have for them? You know, are you always on the defense? Are you walking around on eggshells? You know, are you stonewalling? You know, those are characteristics there that most of the time lead to a divorce. And I can tell you, I have had clients that have came to me and said, okay, Leslie, I'm going to try to work this out, right? And I may get them back 6 months later because they may have tried everything. You know, they may have tried counseling, they may have tried therapy, and they're stuck, you know. And that's the good thing about coaching, any kind of coaching. We take that person from where they are, get them unstuck, and get them to where they want to go.
I love that. I love that. I'm a obviously as a coach too. I think it's really paramount to, if you can take a look at what's going on and get therapy. But I love coaches because coaches are always your heroes. They're not going to make you wrong, but they're going to bring out your best, right? You're going to find that core nugget like you did. You found that, okay, I can get over this, through this divorce. I can go back and get certified. I can be the entrepreneur now as a solopreneur on my own, and I can heal myself. Like you said, you had a lot of key aspects into this, interview, is that you really did take time to heal yourself using energy medicine, right? Using
Right.
the way.
In fact, yeah, I'm still doing light body. I just haven't finished the certification. So I'm
Right.
still working with energy because I find that, you know, I think that's one of the big things that working with just a therapist and a counselor doesn't do for you. And I know for myself, and I know there's great therapists and counselors out there, but
Mhm.
I know from my own experience, Me talking to the therapist was
Right.
just, I could have been talking to my parent. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
oh
already
yeah.
knew, so
Right.
it was like, what?
Right.
I'm not getting anywhere here.
Right. Right. No,
You know, I lost your voice, Joellen.
Oh, okay. There we go. I tend to put it on mute so that they can only hear your voice. But I do know that there's some good psychologists out there who do
Yeah,
really good work. But
right.
coaching, I think, offers a different perspective where people are held accountable. They're not released of their own, accountability with what they've got to do, but they really get insight. It becomes a dialogue, a didactic exchange between, the coach and the client. And so your particular specialties between healing, the career coach, I think is phenomenal that you've added that. And then the fact that, as a divorce coach, a certified divorce coach, I think it makes it really key for people who are going through tough relationships. And especially right now to say, okay, am I clear? Do I want to leave, or do I need to get a little bit clearer and look at what is good in a relationship and can it last? So what I want to bring to everyone's attention, I put as a trailer at the bottom of our Be Live, was contact Leslie at Leslie Welch, divorce coach at mail.com. So it's going to scroll again, Leslie Welch, divorce coach at mail.com. And this will go up on Facebook Live again tonight and tomorrow. And I'll also put it on my YouTube so that people can go back to see it. But I love it that it's out there. I never knew that there were divorce coaches. Luckily, I've never gone through one, and I'm blessed that way. But I think that it's really important for every person, just like I believe every person should have a coach, right? I really do believe that, because that coach is your cheerleader as well as your accountability partner to get things done. And that's why I focus with business. But I think it would be really profound for people to reach out to Leslie if you're in a difficult relationship right now, and if you have questions about your relationship, if you have concerns about how you feel in your relationship. I think those key areas are really, just little triggers that are saying, and maybe I'm not so happy as I think I should be. And it's worth pursuing before things get worse. I mean, that's my take.
Definitely. Yeah. And you know what? I do a 4-week program. Should I or should I not get divorced? Where I take them through several different exercises and tests, and we really dig deep to see, where you're going to be with that spouse, and I will tell you, I probably, like I said, I've had probably 50-50. 50% will not end up getting a divorce. Still, some come and they're already there.
Wow, nice.
Right.
But I think what you offer is that clarity, because when you stand in clarity, you stand in your own power. And I think people know exactly, okay, I may not like this path that I've chosen, but this is my power path. This is the one I must take. And so, and then if they stay in the relationship, okay, then this is my power for right now, for however long, whether that's 2 months or forever,
Yeah. And the thing is, we can't be looking outside ourselves for happiness.
Right.
And that comes with healing regardless if you get divorced or not, working on your own self and really, coming into your own, and not depending on somebody else to make you happy.
Right. I love this. I love this information. I love all your skill sets. I think they're so powerful. And like I said, I think everybody in that difficult relationship really should hire you.
I'm going to tell you, what was it? They've been saying we're either going to have a big baby boom or a big divorce group coming through, That's been the standard joke.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So you guys, if you're listening or listening to the replays, First of all, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. I love talking to entrepreneurs and finding out about your tips and tricks and what makes all about your specialty, what you do, which I love. And Leslie is my first divorce coach on here. I don't think I know anyone else who does that. So it's a beautiful, unique field that I think is sorely, sorely needed in our society for a long time. Unfortunately, but I think it's really key. So if you want to reach out to Leslie again, I want to remind you to go to Leslie Welch, 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 divorce coach at mail.com. So with that, I wish you all a very good night. And thank you so much, Leslie, for being with me tonight.
Thank you,
Oh,
Joan.
you're welcome. I loved it. So, bye, everybody.